edition, if you of Boundaries and Brotherhood with your host Gordon Watts. And as we were watching it, we're getting ready for FCS to come on through. Invites. Here we go. And today's topic. Oh, Doc, how you been?
Good, man. Good.
Good,
Good.
good. You seem
Oh,
better today. But today we're going to be going over a topic that is close to us because it's going to be about how iron sharpens iron and the power of mutual mentorship in male friendships, because there's a full-on need for the modern man needs to find community now. The way we're seeing it. Doc, you're not popping in right here at the bottom. Maybe your camera's not turning on. But I want to say, like, we're going to be
good.
going over certain things with, oh, there you go, Doc. There we go.
Yeah.
Identify the friends who can serve as mentors or accountability partners. You're going to also be learning how to learn to give and receive constructive criticism from your friends, because if you're a true boy, you're a true friend, you're going to tell your friend the truth, hands down. Like, hey, that your fly's down, hey, you got that booger. And the same goes for anything else, because you might be afraid of stagnant direction. Doc, we'll get it all set up. And I know you wanted to talk about the gym, because I love those guys, Hattie and Unk. I love
Yeah.
those guys.
Diamond
And we
Gym.
can talk about that and how
Yeah.
iron sharpens iron while I get us all technically set up. Hey, what's up, Angie? Doc, take it away.
All right. So, greetings, everybody. Dr. Keith Fairclough here for Boundaries and Brotherhood at an FCS, Freedom Change Success counseling. So, guys, yeah, today, we're going to be talking about the need for iron to sharpen iron, right? And why we as men, it is critical for us to be in communities where we are pushed, where we are challenged, where we are taken out of our comfort zones, because for far too long, and I always say this, I don't want us to ever come off as like froofy, as like, oh, let's just, kumbaya, hold hands and share emotions and things like that. Like, yes, there's a place for, emotional vulnerability and things like that, but we as men still got to be men too. Right. We still got to be
Absolutely.
rough. We still got to be able to get it out the mud. We still got to be able to, do what we need to do. Right. Like, it doesn't have to be a separation of the two. It's a combination so we can be complete man, the total man,
Right.
the full man. So today we're going to be talking about that aspect of it, of having that community and being in that healthy community that's going to push you and drive you forward, where you can be challenged, but you could also challenge other men as well to be the best version of themselves.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Because a lot of the times, guys, like Doc said, in today's society, there's so many crap going on, right? You don't know who to turn to, what to do. In fact, I just got off a phone call with a guy that he did 24 years, and he was looking for me all over the place, but he didn't want to touch social media. He had the keys for the yard at one point, but we was just catching up before here. And the beauty of it was, Doc, was so cool. Was like our friendship, our brotherhood, our bond, our camaraderie from prison. It was like we just never left. We just picked off just like it was like yesterday. And just to
Yeah.
have that type of camaraderie and friendship that you've been in the trenches, this is what we want to give you guys, some tools and some respect levels, because to catch up where you haven't seen somebody in 12 years, and we both, I always used to tell people, like, some of the best people I meet in prison, because we know we've been through it and we came out. A lot of the times you see people that complain about the most mundane things for
Yeah.
nothing, because they haven't lost it all and figured it out, the consequences of it. When you do, like I said, 15, 16, 17, 20, 25 years, and you come out, you have a new appreciation for a lot of different things. And that bond that you have for a lot of people that you do create carries
Mm.
over into this section where that iron sharpens iron in a way that most men need but don't know where to turn to. And this is where Doc comes in, right? Doc comes in from FCS LLC Counseling Services, because that's what he does as a full-time career. You know what I mean? And he's been in the spots we talk about. Doc, what are some of the things we're going to be going over today?
Well, I mean, honestly, it's really going to be more of a conversation, guys.
Oh, nice.
We're going to be talking about the different aspects, the different groups that we see out there. What you should be looking for in a group that's going to challenge you, and push you. What to avoid, and how it can help you grow, right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's the goal, right? The goal is not just to, stay the same. The goal is to grow, but in order to grow, you got to get uncomfortable. I don't know any growth
Ooh.
situation that's comfortable, right? So we use the adage from the Bible, iron sharpens iron, right? But that's not a comfortable process. If you've ever worked with metal before, it's a very rough process. It's not smooth. The grinding, the chips, the sparks, all those things like that. Any guys that work in like welding or metal work or anything along those lines, or work in a machine shop or something along those lines, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's not a smooth process. There's a lot of heat, there's a lot of grit, there's a lot of that goes on, but we need that, right? Because when I was talking about like working with metals and working in a machine shop and things like that, in order to become something greater, in order for that metal block to become something greater, it has to go through a painful process. It has to go through
Absolutely.
pressure, it has to go through heat, it has to go through grinding, it has to go through shaving, it has to go through getting hit with the hammer, it has to go through all these things, but that's how it becomes better. That's how the surgical scalpel gets like that, right? It goes through all those processes. So I say all this to say that's what we're going to be talking about today, and how you can find groups, or what the group should look like that you are in order to get that same growth out of it, right? So that's what we're going to
No, I
talk.
mean, I mean, everything that you just said. If you look at your life as a man, and you look at, if you're a piece of steel that's just coming out of the ground, or that needs to be forged somewhere, your male friends aren't just for good times. Your real friends are there to forge personal and professional relationships for growth, not just for you, but for both of you. Like me and Doc, a perfect example, right? I get so much from Doc in my relation that I can apply using all this that we have to become a better person. And that's the camaraderie I'm looking for. It's not having to be, I'm going to go in a bar fight, put my shoulder back to you, and go fight these 200 guys. It's all about, I can come to Doc for real feedback, real personal things, and learn how to accelerate or propel your journey as a man instead of all this movement. You've seen us talk about so many different topics because there's so many different topics can be talked about. But when you look at things that men want, the camaraderie they're looking for, the friendship they're looking for, it's not like Doc said, the kumbaya. It's not where you want to be able to like, I want to be soft, and I want to be, I want you to listen to me and tell me what I want to hear. No, guys, camaraderies, they're going to push you to a limit where I know Doc want to talk about this gym, which I loved it because when I used to work out with my guys, I used to be like that, right? You mean when I at my prime inside, man, I'm squatting 500, my max bench was 465, right? And it's when you see guys on the yard that's been doing time for so long, you get that kind of respect in a different way because there's no place for the weak. So let me ask you this: what is the man up mentality costing us, the new generation of men right now, and how does it
What
apply?
you talking about, the whole idea of like what, make men trying to do everything by themselves or be alone?
Yes, the man up. When we talked about the Watsons, the
Yeah.
this. You mean that alpha mentality with no friends in isolation ain't going to get you nowhere because you all crave one thing: to be a part of something bigger than yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's true. No, that's true. I think that's across the board for everybody, right?
Yeah,
The idea of, real purpose, a real purpose is something that's bigger than you and lives on outside beyond you, right? If it's just something that just benefits you, then that's just for you. But
just
as
for
far
you.
as like the cost, of the whole isolationist, right? Where it's like I gotta go it alone and do it alone. And I mean, you men, ask yourself, what is that costing you? What kind of opportunity is that costing you? What kind of growth is that costing you? What kind of knowledge are you not getting? What kind of perspectives are you missing out on? What kind of struggles
Mm.
are you trying to fight you're by yourself that someone else has the answer for? So I mean, I don't think it's really a question for me to answer. I think, men themselves need to sit down and ask themselves that question. Is this really working for me, being by myself? I've been doing this thing my whole life by myself, and I'm struggling by myself, and I'm suffering by myself,
Nice.
and it's hard for me to grow by myself. So how long do I want to keep doing the same thing and getting the same result by myself? And for anyone who says, oh, well, I'm a self-made man and, I just had to do it alone and all those things like that, I would question that, right? I would question whether or not, I would question whether or not you really did it by yourself. You probably didn't. You probably had a mentor. You probably had someone that you were following. You probably went to a seminar. You probably followed someone else's advice. There was something you did from somebody else. It wasn't just you by yourself, isolated from all information everywhere in the world, where you just came up with the idea yourself, the system yourself. And that's just not how it works, right? So I think it's important, to really ask yourself that question, like, what is it costing me?
Uh-oh. What happened? Doc. Doc, I think so you're frozen on one end. Uh-oh. What happened here? Uh-oh. Something's happening over here. Doc, where'd you go? Doc, did you get cut off? Doc, you got cut off over here on the other side. I think so. Something happened on your stream, but yeah, because I can't hear you on TikTok because I got the speaker going on. But guys, I just want to let you guys know. Let me refresh this. We got a little bit technical difficulty. Let me come out. You're gonna have to click that link and maybe you're gonna come back in because you froze on the other end completely. Why are so many men? Let me jump to myself over here. Why are so many men friendless at this point in the game, right? Because there's a staggering of 15% of men have reported no close friends. And that number has quadrupled since 1990, right? And that's why me and Doc wanted to talk about this because, the nagging feeling that, something might be crucial or missing in your life. Maybe the quiet, the loneliness, and even your closest relationships don't even feel you. You know what I mean? And that's an epidemic, and it's not something that can be looked upon as something that is just not there. We have to be able to find out what's going on in your head, why you're not getting this, or why not you reaching out. Because with the attention that you might be getting somewhere else, it's gonna be something so different that once you have a camaraderie of close friends, and you heard the adage where you keep your circle small and everything else, because these are the ones that will pick up the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. I used to have friends at one point in my life where it's like, we're going to go do this. You might not have to ask questions, and you're going to have friends that say, let's do it. That's in my younger days, right? Now I have so many things that can be the consequences, but you have friends like that, and you have friends like that too on different levels, right? And then you also going to have friends that going to do dirt with you, right? In your days now but you need to find the camaraderie that's going to be there for you when you need it. You need somebody to tell you that, hey, you're basically fucking up, right? Especially in my ex line of work. Doc, you coming back on? Do you need to hit that stream again? Let me see. Let me see if we get this. Okay. Oh crap! Now your whole TikTok just went off. Oh, there you go. Oh, here we go. We got to put Doc back on. That back on. He's back on.
Yeah, I
There you
apologize.
go.
I don't know what the
No
heck happened. My
worries.
computer
It's
just
part of the show,
stopped.
brother.
Yeah. Yeah, my computer just shut it all the way down.
But this
maybe
way, this way, what's cool is because right next to Doc's office is going to be the podcast studio that we're going to be using for what do you call that? It takes a village. So you're
Yeah.
going to see Doc doing another podcast here to helping the communities where we're going to have our own platform besides this. But Doc, you see, I did my ad lib
Yes.
right there.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good if you do say so myself. But no, I'm not a stand-up. I'm not a stand-up counselor. But Doc, go on with that thing. I'll still get chopped in.
So long story short, you have to ask yourself the question: what is this isolation what is it costing you? what is being by yourself costing you?
Mm.
Because nothing can be done by ourselves. Like it just can't happen. There will come a time when you need someone. So my question is, why wait until the point where okay, I just can't do anything else by myself at all, right? Because usually by that time, you're worn out, you're tired, and you feel like, man, I don't want to feel like going on. But if you have a group, if you have the camaraderie, if you find a good group, then you have that support. You have that. Maybe your marriage would have survived if you had that level of support. Maybe your health would have gotten better. Maybe your business would have grew. Maybe you had had a better relationship with your children had you just sought out help and support earlier. So we have to move away from this whole idea that to be a man, you have to do everything by yourself. Like, it's just not true. It's just not. And if for someone if you want to say, yeah, it is true, Keith, you want to argue me on the point, that's fine. Just show me somewhere where there's some objective truth, some objective law where it's like, yep, to be a man, you have to do all these things by yourself. I'm not saying not be self-sufficient, but that's just that as an adult, every adult should be self-sufficient. It has nothing to do with your gender. But we're talking about as a man, show me where it says to be a man, to actually have an XY chromosome, you must do things by yourself. You won't find it. That's please don't engage me in that conversation. You will lose. So, but so I would say that, you really need to ask yourself the question, what am I losing out on? Because I'll be honest, I've been in that situation, right? So I'm not speaking from just some ivory tower. I've been in a situation where I'm like, okay, I'm scared to reach out and ask for help because maybe I won't be a man, or, I'm scared because people are going to take advantage of me, or all these things like that. Eventually I got to a point where it's like, you cannot do it by yourself. Sorry, you're just impossible. For you to do and grow and expand the way you want to grow and expand, that means you would have to be a master in sales and marketing and business and therapy and trauma and relationships and men's health and women's health and you scaling it all. I have to be a master in every single area, in digital design and all. Who can do that? Who can literally master all those different areas? We're not designed to. Who has all the answers? Nobody. So why not get with the group of guys who will say, you know what, hey, you don't have to, because hey, I'm good at this and I'm good with that, or I can do this or I can do that, or hey, let's just encourage you and keep you going. Like, it's better to find and easier to find a group of guys that have these different traits and things of that nature, or just to be supportive, than it is to try to do it all by yourself.
100%.
So that's just a mindset you got to have moving forward. Like, trying to do it all by yourself, there's just no point in doing that.
I mean, it goes to show, like, the mentality of the alpha male is all collapsing on itself in YouTube right now, with the fall of so many people going on, because they found out everything is fake. I mean, it could have been purposeful in the beginning where, okay, you can change your life, you can do everything. But after a while, the ego gets inflated. And that's when you're supposed to have another male that you respect, or a friend or camaraderie, that can say, hey, doc, you kind of pushing it overboard. And it would be not a friend of, it wouldn't be, if I'm a good friend, it's like, I'm going to take that into consideration, because maybe there's some truth to it, because why would I be bringing it up? Right. Because a lot of the times, as guys, especially for somebody that's been into an all boys school, because I was messing up did I ever tell you about, because I went to an all boys school because I stabbed my teacher with a pencil because I had anger issues. So I stabbed that teacher with my pencil because I got mad, and that's why I started up going to a private school, because they thought that could change my behaviors, because broken family and all that good stuff. But in high school, I went to an all boy high school because I'm used to just being around that. So when I went to prison, it was like a normal for me, which is ridiculous. But I do miss the camaraderie of the men talking about men, about shoulder to shoulder conversations, through experiences, through all this stuff. And then the friendships also get stronger when you have something in common and bond, and you have mutual respect. If you don't have that mutual respect and it doesn't go back and forth, Doc, how do men get out of that isolation and find that mutual respect for themselves and for the group that they want to work with?
So, all right. So this one, it's First, you have to identify what your values are, right? Because
Big.
every group is not a good group.
Yep.
Identify what your values are. What are the things that are important to you? Is it marriage?
Mm.
Is it family? Is it relationships? Is it honor? Is it work? What matters to you? What is important to you? Because not every group is for everything, right?
Ooh,
So,
deep.
for instance, you might be a group that they kill it in business, they push each other and whatnot. But let's just say most of them are single or divorced. You know,
Oh yeah.
they're great for
Yep.
business, but they're probably not good for relationships, right?
Nope.
When they have 2, 3 different women every night or something like that, probably not the best for your relationship, right? Not the people you want to take, advice from. So you have to first identify, okay, what do I need? What am I looking for? What are my values? And then what groups exist out there that have those values, right?
Mm.
Or create a group that is
Yeah.
based on those values.
Yep.
Right? Like, there's nothing saying that, because some people, maybe you it's like, man, it's hard to find a group, Keith. You don't understand, well, then create a group, right? Either online or in person, preferably in person, right? It's better to be in person, but you take what you can get, but you find a group that has and shares your values, and then you guys just set it up where you're able to have open, real, honest conversations, right? Like, it's not this, I was going to say something else that was going to be inappropriate. It's not, it's not going to
We do
be
inappropriate here, though. It's okay. Say what's on
not
your
that,
mind. Oh,
no,
not
not
that
that,
one. Okay. Well,
not that
it's a family
inappropriate.
oriented show.
Not that inappropriate. It might be
Ah.
previous students or some of my old pastors watching, so I'm not,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not
Okay.
doing that. So, but long story short, not this like this macho, like, yeah, I did all this and yeah, I did all that, or let me just share my knowledge and then you share. Like, no, we're not trying to measure each other and see. Okay, no,
Right.
no, no.
You're right. Yeah.
Hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm dealing with. And you can get legitimate feedback on that, feedback on your behavior, right? Man, my
Yep.
wife's tripping, man. I work all these hours and she's concerned about us not spending time together. You need some guy to be like, but bro, you married her. That's part of the mission. Like, you got to spend time with her. I know you work like crazy, but like, do you need to? Like, this is your marriage, man. You love her. Yeah, you need someone that's going to hold you accountable like that. You need
Yep.
someone where you come in and complain about money. Oh man, never have money, never have money, never have money. Like, bro, but you have all these great ideas. You don't ever execute on nothing. What's the issue? What's going on? Now to get you to start thinking about why aren't you executing on it? Honestly, I'm scared, man. I'm scared I'm gonna fail. All right, well, cool. Let's talk about that. Like, we need to, find those groups where you could do that, where if it's safe to do that. And again, if you cannot find a group, then what you need to do is create a group. Right.
Right.
Based off
Right.
those values, right? Establish that. We have Chat GPT and Claude and all those other things that out today. So you can put your values in and say, hey, I want to make a group and have like an ethos based off of these values. They can throw it all together for you. You can go out there and just start, creating, again, just inviting people in, inviting your coworkers, inviting your siblings, inviting your friends, inviting your neighbor, whoever might want to have that group. Because guess what? There are men that do want that camaraderie. They do
Yeah.
exist. They want
Oh
that
yeah.
camaraderie. So it's important for us to, make sure we go out there and get it. And so, for example, perfect example, right? We talk about Diamond Gym, right? That's the
Yeah.
gym that
Okay.
Gordon was talking about with the Unc and Hattie and all them, right? If you don't know what Diamond Gym is, I strongly recommend you go and look it up. I absolutely love what
I
they
love
do
them.
there,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Hell
and
yeah. I've done it.
and and the whole idea of it is to have people to push you when you feel like you can't go any further, when you
Yep.
feel like giving up, when you feel like it's too hard. You need someone to say, get back in there and keep fighting. You got this, right? And one of their mottos is there. I'm not going to use the profanity part of it because I don't use profanity, but but one of the guys says, he's like, I'd rather die, right? That's like the motto. I'd rather die. And obviously, he's not talking about like I
Yeah.
don't
He's
think
not
he's talking
physically
about,
going
actually.
to die. Yeah.
I don't know that guy.
No. Yeah. No.
The
That's
guy-
true. But you know what I
he,
mean?
he may really think that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
He might push you to that brink where it's like you're gonna throw up. You know what I mean? That would to that point, but you could feel like you're dying.
But that's the thing, right? And then you ever wonder why, like, why are all these people drawn to this, right? Like it's pain, right? It is literally pain. It hurts. You want to quit, and you still gotta go. You come in there's one guy came in with an Amazon package like you got 150 burpees. I'm just delivering a pack. Get down, bro. You know what it is, right? And guess what the Amazon guy did? He didn't say, man, I'm not doing this. He didn't say that. What did he do? Got down, started doing burpees. He's down, up, down, up. Why though? Ask yourself the question, why? You look on the outside and it's like it hurts. There's pain. Because there's a camaraderie. There's a genuine care there. There's a bro, there's so much more in you. And you, because your body feels tired, we're gonna keep pushing you because we know there's another level, there's another rep in you. And everybody gets it. It doesn't matter. Like no one's exempt. Unc gets it, Hattie gets it, the other guy gets it, the Amazon guy gets it, Matt Rife, Larry Wheels, Ashton Hall, you name it. All these people coming through, and everybody gets it. They go there because it's like we want to be part of a community where we're pushed. I mean, think of it like this. One of the maybe I'm just generalizing, but I would assume that 300 is a fan favorite of a lot of men, right? Watching a group of jacked guys run around, stabbing and killing and fighting impossible odds together, right? Why is that such a and then there was a period of time where there was this thing where women would fantasize about passing away with all their loved ones around them, and then it would shift to a guy a guy is wants to go out like a blaze of glory in like this big battle, right? There's something about that, right? There's something about that, right? That we as men, we're looking for that iron that's going to sharpen us. We're looking for that place that's going to help us grow. That's going to help us get better. That's going to push us beyond our potential. That's going to push us beyond our weaknesses and our perceived limits. We're looking for someone to do that. And so that's why, again, the Diamond Gym, that's why it's so powerful. And there are probably other gyms out there like that and other organizations out there like that will hold you accountable as a man to not just live up to your potential, but go beyond it. And we as men are searching for those organizations, those groups where we can be somewhere where we can actually be sharpened, right? So that's why this whole podcast today, that's where it came from. I saw the video. I'm like, Gordon, we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about it.
I'm 100%. I agree with that. Because I'll give you a perfect example, Doc, right? I got my friend right here in Michael Jaime Stories. I can call him right now. And like I said before, because he's the director, creator, and founder of World Conscious Changes that does NLP stuff and same thing that we do here. He does it on a certain type of level. I can call him right now, put him on here, and he'll give me feedback what I don't want to hear, maybe, but I'll respect his much because we've been through the thick and thin together, right?
Yeah.
We have Dr. Desiree King right now inviting us. I can call her right now at her work, and she can give me the download because I want friendships that are truthful, honest, that can last me beyond 30 years because, life gets in the way. Marriage, kids, life, sports, this. But I still look for a camaraderie because why? Camaraderie gives me purpose to be better than I was yesterday for you. I want to be better for Doc. Every day, every time we come on this way, whether it's going to be our course, whether it's a course, the podcast, the workshop, the webinar, everything, so I can be better for him because my camaraderie, my relationship with Doc is that important, right? It's not where I'm going to do it all myself using everything that I have, which I have a lot of knowledge. It's just a matter of because camaraderie means and friendship means important for you when you find the ones that have the right value at the right season of choice in your life. Because 20 years ago, Gordon wouldn't be around Doc. I would say, you crazy. But you look at what season of life you're in, but at the same time, the real ones, we're going to stick with you thick and thin and tell you what's wrong. Your zip's undone. Hey, that, this and that. You know what I mean? And when you find that type of friendship that lasts through decades, right? And you can pick up a phone and talk to them like it was like yesterday with the same result. That
Yeah.
is something that has to be cherished, and that's what the young guys are missing right now, because everything is this fast. IG, fake, Instagram, hypercars, all this stuff, alpha male, all this other crap. But what for? They can't even be happy with themselves, and they undo themselves. For
Hmm.
what? Right? Because they can't keep up with the ego, they can't keep up with the pressure, and they can't keep up with what's going on in life because it happens too fast because they don't have a solid foundation of friends.
Yeah.
Right? Now,
Yeah.
Doc, what happens when people get disconnected but want to get a connection but don't know how to?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we can use the excuse of don't know how to anymore. I'll be
Okay,
honest. I mean, we live in the information age. There is no excuse anymore.
it's the
You can
want,
Everybody has a phone. You
right?
literally you can speak into it and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this. I need X. Where can I go?" And it will literally direct you to where to go. It will
Hmm.
literally give you, hey, you should check out these things. Hey, maybe you should check out Psychology Today, or maybe you should check out this website or that website. So it's not a matter of, they don't know how to. So we can't use that excuse anymore,
Okay,
right? We can't use
they
that
don't want
excuse.
to.
There has to be a desire to do it, and a desire to do it in the right way. And yeah, I'm gonna speak on this real quick. Me and my wife were talking earlier this week, and we were talking about people that they don't really want to change, and
Okay,
or what they want to do is they want to stay the same but get the benefit of change. And
the
so,
entitlement.
yeah, and
Ooh.
and the reason why we were talking about this, so actually coming from where we're talking about, like, people who follow pastors who are literally just grifters. Like, literally all they do is this: they get you excited, they get you emotional, and they say essentially the grift is give us money and then God will give you money. That's the grift.
The
It,
blessings.
it's not, or they call it blessings. Yeah,
They
oh,
call
he
it
will bless you,
blessings.
whatever. Let me speak into you. All right. So the grift is, let me get you emotional, just like Tony Robbins does or anybody else does, right? And then I'm going to, well, at least they sell you something. They're selling you just a lie, because it doesn't work that way, right? Because you can't
Mm,
stay the same and then expect the benefits of
yeah,
what comes from change, right?
correct.
So we were talking about that. And it was like, well, why do these people, and then my wife asked, like, why do these people keep following these people that they know they know these people are no good? I'm like, because they don't really want to change. They're okay being grifted, because the grift is, I don't have to change. And so it's the same thing with a lot of these alpha male,
Ooh,
influencers and
that
things
is
like that,
that's
is you don't really want to change. You want to stay the same, and you want to get the results of change. And so you're willing to be lied to, you're willing to be manipulated, and you're willing to do that so that you can get the change on the other side, because you think, if I allow this to happen, going back to some people pleasing tendencies there, if I
right.
allow this to happen, then maybe on the other side I'll get it. But it never works, right? It doesn't work. It just doesn't. It can't. You cannot stay the same and then get the different results. If I have a big, again, use the metal example, right? If I have a chunk of metal, right? Just a chunk of metal, that metal is not going to cut a person open. No matter how much I bring it into the operating room and rub it on the person, it's not cutting them open. It's not a clean slice. No matter how much I take that chunk of metal and put it in my kitchen, it's not going to keep my food clean. It's my food cold. It's not going to keep my food hot. It's not going to warm it up. It's not going to toast it. It's not going to wash my stuff. It's not going to benefit me in any way, shape, or form, because it must be changed, and change is uncomfortable, and it means that you have to recognize and take responsibility for your own behaviors and actions. You're in your financial situation because of you. You're in your health situation because of you. You keep getting in bad relationships because of you. It's you. And you can say, well, what about my parents? Yeah, they maybe started off on the bad path, but guess what? Now it's on you to change it. You can look back as much as you want. It's up to you to change it, right? So you need to find a group, right? You have to, well, first you have the desire to want to change. You have the desire to be willing to be challenged, have your beliefs challenged, those negative beliefs, have those your behaviors challenged, be willing to be called out, to be willing to push harder. You have to be willing to put yourself in that crucible of change. But if you're not willing to do that, then yeah, no, nothing's gonna work for you. Right. And yeah, you can find a grifter. Listen, I promise you right now, there is someone that's willing to tell you whatever you want to hear so you
Right.
can say the same and lie to you about the change on the other side. I promise you that is easy to find. Easy to find. That's a
Oh,
dime a dozen. But
just
if you
put that credit card out.
well, I'm just saying, yeah, you might as well just put your credit card information online.
Yep.
If you're that comfortable with just giving away money, listen, just take all the money out of your account, put it on the sidewalk, and walk away. I promise it'll be gone. If you're just that comfortable wasting your time, wasting your money, and then you get online and start talking about, oh man, there's nothing good out here, or these groups aren't good, and these women aren't good, and this person ain't good, and the government's not good, and the white man's not good, and the black man's
Oh
not
my
good.
goodness.
Everybody's fault, and my parents, and oh my gosh, and society, and you're just complaining and whining, right? There's no need for it. There's no need for it. You have to have a desire to want to change. You have to understand that change is uncomfortable. Period. Point blank. End the discussion. If you can't deal with the discomfort of change, if you can't deal with someone say, hey, you're messing up. Hey, you shouldn't be talking to that woman because you're a married man. You're flirting a little too much, man. You need to back up. A friend to come in and back, hey, ma'am, hey, listen, this man's married. I don't know if you know that or not, but my man's married, has a whole wife and kids at home, right? If you don't really want that real hard down accountability, then yeah, you might be better off just staying by yourself. You might be better off just staying by yourself. At least if you stay by yourself, you at least keep your money in your pocket, right? But if you go in front of these drifters and stuff like that, I mean, you'll be broke in by yourself. So I say all that to say, Gordon, you asked the question. It's the idea that you have to want to change. You have to want to change. If you don't want to change, you're going to be the same. And you can blame everybody else. You can blame your last 5 wives, and you can blame your kids. You can blame society. You can blame all these people. You can do that, but you will still be the same. You'll just be miserable. You'll be
absolutely.
You'll be 20 years old and miserable, 30 years old and miserable, 50, 70, you will be miserable. I have seen it. I have seen it. In my 41 years on earth, I've seen people remain miserable exactly the same year after year after year after year. And they're wondering why things are so bad. Things are so bad because you don't want to change. You don't want to talk different, think different, look different, be around people willing to challenge you, take in different perspectives, shift how you're thinking, shift your behaviors. You don't want to do that. So long story short, you have to want to change. That's what it boils down to, Gordon. You have to want to change. If you really want to change and you know what your values are, then you either link up with someone or some group of people, right, that have similar values that are willing to challenge you, or
That's big.
you create that for yourself, right? So, or create the group and bring people in. Like, hey, this is what we're based off of. It's just a place for us to talk and just open up and air things out. Like, guys are looking for that. But you have to want to change. You have to be willing to accept different perspectives and leave old maladaptive beliefs behind.
No, 100%. Because even like when you have camaraderies in your workplace, or what's up, Jamie? What's up, pork chop? Pork chop. I can tell you a story about the pork chop. Guys, pound for our sponsors. Guys, we're launching here in about 6 weeks. This is going to be on the red carpet. I got to drop some off to Doc, but we just closed major stores already. So it's the valuation keeps going up. So it's like, cool.
All right.
Like pretty soon we're going to be doing a George Jerome. Get on the boat, brother. But at the same time, right? When like my friend here, Duron right here, pork chop, Jaime, everything. We have a camaraderie that's really based on what we've been in the past. And we used to rely on them. In fact, George Duron used to be my senior guide when I was going through a program that helped me go through, because how do you go from taking your accountability and you need that guidance from somebody that's been through it, right? Because if I don't take accountability for the actions I'm taking, the behaviors that I'm showing, and I don't respect somebody that's my brother, that's going to tell me what I'm doing, everything goes the same. I'll be miserable. I'm still have anxiety. I still go back to drinking. I'll still go back doing dope. I'll still go back into the criminal for what? Because I'm not happy with myself. I'm not happy with the crowd I'm with, right?
Mm.
When you're happy with the crowd you're with, say with your wife, your family, your purpose, and everything else, guess what happens when you find the right group, the right lane? You just stay in that lane and you expand and you get better as a person, right? When you get better as a person, guess what happens? People gravitate to you because you start commanding yourself and your behavior into a way that kids want to be around you, animals want to be around you, and you gain this confidence that nobody can take away from you. But it does have to help from other people that you have have friendships with, right? Because those friendships always blossom into something bigger down the line that might not you might not think your camaraderie is important now if you're at alone, but try be somewhere that your friends are not around, that you cannot call, or when you want to help move and it's not transactional anymore, right? Those are the things that's going to matter in your life as you get older. Like Doc said, your health might be deteriorating. Look at myself. When you look at how many surgeries I just had in, oops. Told you, live show, guys. People trying to get in touch. When you have this camaraderie that you can lean on for anybody, that's something money cannot buy. And Doc gets paid to do this, right? Doc's professional, FCS, LLC counseling. He gets paid to do relationship coaching and individual coaching, and he does the same thing. So take heed, guys. Camaraderie, friendship is a good thing to lean on when it's the right type, right?
Mm.
Doc,
Yep.
what are some of the frustrations men have with connecting with other men?
I would say the frustrations, I don't know, frustration. That's a great question, man. That's a great question. Because I actually don't really hear a lot of men talking about the frustrations of not connecting.
Oh,
I think
interesting.
it's just there's just not connecting, right? We have to connect first before we can be frustrated about the connection.
True.
But again, society has pushed us in such a way where it's like, to be a real man, you got to handle everything by yourself, right? So and so that's just not the case. That's not the case at all. I would say some things to look out for, though, if you're in one of these groups, right, is to really kill that whole alpha male mentality thing, because there's not really the place for it, right? This is a place that when we get into these groups, we're not looking to be led. We're looking for everyone to be on the same level, kind of like King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table, right? The reason why the table was round is because everyone was equals, right?
Equal. Yep.
And so that's more so what we're looking for. Take off the titles, take off of all of that, and just be you. Don't be the father, don't be the husband, don't be the businessman, don't be the therapist, don't be the coach, don't be any of that. Just be you. Be Keith. Be Gordon. Be Jimmy, John, Tyrone,
Yep.
whatever. Just be you, right? And you're gonna get so much more if you guys start doing this. Because I've been in some men groups, like Bible study groups and things like that. And I remember one of the Bible study group I was in, and it was just like comparing not biblical knowledge. There was no real depth. There was no like, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm going through. It's just like throwing biblical knowledge around. It's like, we don't need that. They don't need that. I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
It's nice, but
Nothing wrong with Bible study, right? But I think the premise of it, right? If it's a Bible study group, then yeah, you are doing Bible study. But if it's a men's group in a Christian setting yeah, we're supporting each other, but we're being real, and we're just using scripture as that platform which we can help, right?
Yeah.
But it's not this. We shouldn't be in this thing where it's where we're getting these groups and we're flexing knowledge or things like that. It should be, hey, we're around the same table. We're all real. We're all raw. We're all vulnerable. We're all just kind of sharing our things. We're building each other up. We're holding each other accountable. We're not judging. There's
that's the big word, judging. Yep.
There's a book. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. I forgot what the name of the guy who wrote it is, but he has these No More Mr. Nice Guy groups. He was running groups, And that's how he would run his groups. That's how he would have them. They actually still have them. That's a resource you guys could tap into if you could find a group in your area, right? But a No More Mr. Nice Guy group. But that was based off of that, where men can just be there and be men and be open and share and, you know, and hold each other accountable, right? I think there was one example he, you know, gave in the book in this group where this guy, I guess, was talking about this woman he was interested in for a while. And the guys challenged him and said, listen, man, you've been talking about this for a minute. Either you're gonna either do something or just stop talking about it. Like, we're not, you know. And so it was kind of like pushing him to, hey, I need to execute and do something, right? You know, and so it's important to be able to be, again, part of one of those groups. But I would say, yeah, I don't see this as a frustration. I think it's just a lack. Maybe we will get to a point when there are frustrations. Yeah, maybe it's like, you know, someone capitalizing too much time in the group or whatever the case may be. But that's why you have certain rules and bylaws and all that stuff to manage those things. But I would say the biggest issue right now is that there just isn't one. Right. And unfortunately, we use a lot of excuses, you know, such as, you know, I just don't have the time. You know, well, we got to make the time, right? Because
No,
no one's going to give
absolutely.
it to us, right? You know, we got something that's got to give. Like, we got to stop doing one thing to do something else, you know. So, you know, so I would say that I wouldn't say there's any frustrations. I would say it's just a lack of connection just in general. And we need to have those spaces where we can actually have that connection.
No, that's so true, because like even for my friend Stu Smith right here, he trains young men going into the academy to be SEALs. He's been on sportscasters, he's been everything. Stu, shout out to you, all the guys watching, because reach out to him if you're going into the military, everything, because that's what he does, right? The importance of the camaraderie, the friendship, because even like if you're going to battle, like the war going on and everything else, I gotta know that I got you on my back, emotionally watching my six or watching my back, knowing you're emotionally okay with protecting me. If not, I'm gonna get blown up, right? And it's the same thing in the real world. You gotta be able to have friendships that gonna last a lifetime, to take the criticism that he's got for you, because he's gonna keep you on the track. When you find a group of guys that can do that for you, you do vice versa in a supportive group. It doesn't have to be business. I belong to like some copywriting groups, some high-end other groups that do some business stuff and all this masterminds, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like Doc said, you have to be you, regardless. If you're not you and you're trying to fake it, people feel, sense, and everything else, and you send off this high, low vibration of energy, that's not going to matter, right? Because people can tell, right? People can
Yeah.
tell automatic, 100%. But Doc, let me ask you this last question.
Mm.
Okay. When men struggle amongst family, work, professionalism, what do you see in the field that can help them get past that point? What do you think they have to do to take the first step into gaining that, besides the accountability for yourself and the entitlement? What would be something that we could end the show with? We blew through 50 minutes. Jeez.
The time flies. So I would say, honestly, I think it goes back to the personal responsibility, right? Like, you know, knowing that you have, what's so powerful about taking personal responsibility, guys, is that it gives you your power back. You know,
Oof,
it gives you
that's big.
full, total control and agency. Once you recognize that I can make a choice and decision, I am not left to the whims of everybody else, my wife, my kids, my job, my government, my group, my church. I'm not left to the whims of everybody else. I get a chance to make the decisions that I want to make, right?
Mm,
That's what's so critical. That's what's so important, right? So, you know, when it comes to this, you know, once you understand that you can make your own decisions, then you could have essentially whatever you really want. Honestly, once you recognize it's on you to do that, it's on you to find the group, or to make the group, then you're not waiting for anyone to save you anymore. Right? You're not waiting for someone to come along and, you know, well, here's this group. It's nice if that happens. And granted, maybe you could be that person, right? You start the group and you start inviting people along, right? To come and join it. You know, maybe
we're
you could
doing
be
it
that,
right now.
you know. So, you know, but you have to understand that you have the power to do that. Right. You
Yeah.
don't have to stay alone. You don't have to be alone in your head, alone in your thoughts, you know, alone in your work, alone in your journey. You don't have to be alone. You could be around other men. There are other men out there that are also looking for camaraderie, are also looking for iron to sharpen them, are also looking to push each other. There are other men that are trying to do that. Right. So I would say that, if I had to leave you guys with anything, just know that you have the power to do that and find that group and find that connection and, and make that time. I know you might, a lot of times people say, well, there's no time. There's time, right? There's
This
24
time,
hours in a day. It's allocated towards something. You have to ask yourself the question, okay, what am I allocating this time to? And is it helping me? Is it beneficial? Is it, is it helping me reach some type of goal? Right. And I'll
right?
be honest, if it's not your faith or your family, or something that's generating, income and generational wealth and things of that nature, then, you really have to ask yourself the question, okay, how important is it in my life? Right. It doesn't really need to be there. So when you start organizing your life and recognize you have the power to do so, organize your life, prioritizing things, you'll see that the time is there. Because if people who are way busier than us, can find time to join these groups, there's no excuse. And when I say way busier, I'm talking about they have every moment of their day clocked, every single
Oh yeah,
moment of their day. But guess what? They make sure they make time for it. They absolutely make sure they make time for it. I have clients right now, they're very successful professionals, and that they could make the excuse, I don't have time for therapy. Guess what they do? They make time for therapy.
they make time because
So
it's
you
important.
can make time for it.
Yeah,
And that's why you taking personal responsibility of your actions and behaviors. That gives you the power. So then now you're looking at, if you're not doing it, that's just on you. Oh no, but the wife. No, it's not your wife. It's just on you. But the kids, no, it's on you.
you
You
can
don't understand my schedule. It's on you.
plan it.
It's on you.
Plan it.
Yeah, it's on you, right?
Yeah,
And that's okay, right? I'm not being flippant about it, or trying to be insensitive or whatnot. I'm just trying to actually empower you and let
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
if you want it, you could have it. Because there are
Yep.
people that balance family and work and self-development. There are people that balance that stuff all the time. So again, you live in the day and age of technology where you can look it up. Look and see, what do they do? How do they balance it? Someone's like, well, work-life integration. So I have family, I'm working alongside family, and so we're having date. Like there's all types of ways it could be done, but
You
don't
make
just
it
rest
work.
on the idea that, oh, it can't be done. That's a lie.
Anything
It's a
can be
lie.
done.
Yeah, anything can be done. And again, I always say, when it comes to excuses or lies, you're comfortable telling yourself. Right. That's essentially what an excuse is. It's just a lie you're comfortable telling yourself. I can't do it
Yeah,
because
that's it.
it's a lie. You're just
Yeah,
comfortable saying it to yourself,
yeah,
right? But I also to warn you of this: the most dangerous person you could lie to is yourself, because you can fool other people, but unfortunately, yourself, you're going to start believing that lie. You're going to start
that's
creating
the
a life
worst.
based on that lie. And essentially, when you do that, you are now creating your own jail, your own prison that you're locked in. And you will stay locked in until you stop saying that lie, recognize you have the power to change, and then start breaking down those walls, tearing apart those bars, and start actually getting out and be like, actually, I can do this. There is time for me to join a men's group. There is time for me to create a men's group. There's time for me to go and develop myself. There's time for me to be held accountable and things like that. That's another thing as well, Gordon. And I'll end with this, right? Because, and maybe this is something we can go into in a little more detail later, but there are some men, and you guys got to be honest with yourself, you don't want to be held accountable. That's why you don't get around anybody. You don't
That's
want
I was
anyone to
just
tell you
yeah.
that you're doing the wrong thing. You don't want anyone to correct your behavior. You don't want someone to tell you that the way you're talking to your wife is bad. You don't want someone to tell you that you're actually a terrible father. You don't want someone to say that. So you don't get around people like that. Or what you will do is get into these negative echo chambers where it's just everyone telling you the same thing. Yeah, your baby mama's crazy, or yeah, your kid should respect you. Look at how much you work. Oh my gosh. Oh man, you're just so yeah, you're looking for that, right? You're looking for that
You want
again.
that. Yeah.
You want that. And so, but again, what you just did was you put yourself in a prison. You put yourself in a self-made prison, and now all you do is you have your buddies and your friends, that are in this prison with you, helping you to just block up the walls and put up the barbed wire and put up the razor wire and put the guards on the towers with the guns. And that's all they're doing, helping you build a bigger, better prison for yourself. So now you're stuck, and you wonder why your relationship with your kids is terrible. You wonder why your relationship with your wife is terrible, or you get divorced. You wonder why no one likes you. Yeah, maybe you make money, but you don't have any healthy relationships. You wonder why you're depressed.
Money,
You wonder why
nothing.
you're on the bottle. You wonder why you're on drugs. You wonder why all these things. And it's because you believed the lie, and you didn't get around people who would hold you accountable. You didn't get around
Yes,
someone that
sir.
said, bro, you are messing up, bro. No, that's wicked. You can't do that, man. You're going to hurt people. Don't lie. Don't steal. Don't cheat. you know, you need to get on the right path. So maybe that wasn't the best way to end this, off. But
Duck went off.
hey, we're here
Hey,
now.
this
It's
is
already
Doc.
out there now.
Doc,
It's recorded.
but it doesn't matter. You know why? It all wraps up when you tie into how important camaraderie is for yourself, your mental health, your self accountability, and in how a good friendship can determine where your direction of life goes. Because
Very
if you're open to it, a lot of things can happen for a good sense. But if you're lying also to your friends and you're inflating your ego and you're trying to measure who's got the biggest swing, it's not going to help, right? Because this is why we created Boundaries and Brotherhood, to have a community of people, because now we have our own community in both school, Reddit, and our own community right now, and in Facebook group, because the traction we created this so people can come in and get the support they want, need, so they don't do something crazy. Now,
Mhm.
when you look at a lot of the things going on in the world right now, people need camaraderie, they need good friendships, they need people to tell them what it is, and to be able to have the accountability to take self inflection and reflection to a whole different level. This is what we're offering. The big promise is, come join our community, get onto our Facebook group, click the link that's going to be here, and the notification bell right here. You're going to have the next video and the subscription video either right here, right? Click on one of those, get into one of our groups, ask the questions, come ask the questions live here on Thursday on all platforms, right? And see where we can take you to the different levels of where you need to be for as a man, so that you can fulfill your full potential. Guys, this is Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. I just wanted to say, probably one of these weeks, I'm going to have our CEO, creator, and director, because we're going to be launching soon, right? Just closed 600 stores called Major, Meijer, on the East Coast.
Yeah.
You ever heard of those?
Yes, I have. I think those are up in
And
the
Green Stop,
north.
Truck Stop are going to be carrying the products.
Yeah, that's the Northeast, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
600 stores. I didn't even know what it is, but I'm going to have them CEO come in and talk to us also. But guys, it's been a blast. As always, come get your questions answered live. Come join the community. We're going to have our live community coming up very soon. I'm going to go over something. So, Gordon, from Boundaries Brother, we'll see you next week. Bye.
All right, you guys take care. Dr. Keith Fairclough. Remember, y'all get connected. Don't do it by yourself. Remember, real change, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary for you to be the man, to be the complete man, the total man, to be the sovereign man. Yeah, it's critical and necessary. So don't try to do it alone. We're not designed to do that. So we'll see y'all next week.
Boop. Boop. Oh, wow.